Hey y'all, we are looking at nervous tissue right now. Specifically, we're looking at neurons from the spinal cord that have been smeared onto the slide. So they're not within like an intact spinal cord, which we will see in another slide, but these are neurons that have been smeared on, so we can see individual parts of the neurons. So let's take a look. We're at 40x right now. Excuse the shakiness. There's something going on with the table here. All right, we're at 40x total right now. Going to 100x. Get this into focus. And we can see the cell bodies of the neurons. There's one cell body. There's another cell body. You see lots of other dots. Those aren't neurons. Those are cell bodies of glial cells. And we'll get to that later. So we're at 100x now. Let's switch to 400x. What happened? There we go. Oh. 400x. Great. We can see our neuron cell body. Another word for the cell body is the soma. We can see the nucleus inside of the cell body. And then we see a bunch of extensions coming off of it. Like here's an extension. Here's an extension. Whoops, there's an extension. There's an extension. So what these extensions are either dendrites or axons. Let's switch to another one. Here we go. This one's showing it a bit more clearly. So we have three very visible extensions on the top part. 1, 2 in the middle, 3 over here, and then one extension coming down this way. What you'll notice about this extension that's coming down is that it'll continue and it'll form a kind of chain which forms a chain like what I'm pointing out right now. What you'll also notice is that this extension is a bit lighter while the other 3 extensions appear a bit darker. So it's almost like it's continuous with the cell body. If the extension is darker, continuous with the cell body, it's a dendrite. So this is likely a dendrite, this one is likely a dendrite, this one is likely a dendrite. This is likely an axon, what's extending out this way. Axons don't have the same staining that the cell bodies do. They're called Nissl bodies. It's really just all the organelles like endoplasmic reticulum that are stained in there. Dendrites have that, axons don't have that. So once again, axon, it's lighter colored. Dendrites, they're darker. Dendrites are the ones that detect. Signals from other neurons or from stimulus. Axons announce. They send signals to other neurons or to target tissues. These axons, you can see like here's an axon of a neuron, and you can see these nuclei that run along the axon. These are myelinated axons, and remember myelin covers up the axons of cells, creates those myelin sheaths. They're created by one of 2 cell types. In the central nervous system, they are oligodendrocytes, and in the peripheral nervous system, they're Schwann cells. So since we are have a spinal cord smear, these are probably oligodendrocytes. I guess I can't tell exactly because these neurons their cell bodies might be in the spinal cord, but might extend outside of the spinal cord. So if it's an interneuron, a neuron which is entirely within the spinal cord, then these are oligodendrocytes. If this is a motor neuron whose cell body starts in the spinal cord but then extends out of the spinal cord, then these would be Schwann cells. I'm actually inclined to say Schwann cells because you see tons of nuclei that line up all along the axon, and you would see more nuclei if there were Schwann cells. If it was oligodendrocytes, you would see nuclei away from the axon, but they have processes that wrap around the axon. So once again, let me repeat, I'm concluding that these are Schwann cells that are along the axon, which means these are motor neurons. with cell bodies in the spinal cord and axons that extend outwards, because Schwann cells, individual Schwann cells wrap around sections of the axon. If it were an oligodendrocyte, the reason why it's called oligo is because it has many extensions. It's just one cell with many wrappings around a given axon. So we don't see that. We see many cell bodies all along the axon. So I'm inclined to say Schwann cell. Let's show you one more example of the cell body. Nice clear one. Where are we? Lots of axons. Let's go to 100x again. I see cell bodies here. They're just not very clear. They're kind of overlapped. I'm trying to find a nice clear one. And that's where we were. Okay, here we go. Going back to 400x. Great. And you can see a bunch of cell bodies here. Each neuron is unique. They're not shaped all exactly the same, but they all have the same branches, axons, and dendrites, but they can vary in how many they have. I would hazard a guess that this is a dendrite right here because it's darker. This is a dendrite as well. The staining gets lighter for this one. So I would conclude that this one is likely the axon, this extension. All right, so that is the basic anatomy of a neuron. This one happens to be a motor neuron, a multipolar motor neuron. We'll take a look at other shapes in another video.